of the standing orders both at the National Assembly and the Senate. At this gathering, that staff took a leading role in those in the translation process. As a result, for the Senate, we established a Kiswahili desk to help translate maybe petitions, statements, and other papers. And we also invite experts, just like the resource persons in front of me, divided two key topics. And at the end of that, he said, Charles, you know I have a formula for the gender problem in Kenya. But he never lived to tell us the formula. So we involve all those professors. We have worked with Professor Iribe Mwangi, University of Nairobi, Esron Mogambi, Priska Cherono, among others, to help build staff capacity for staff in terms of language. There are certain things you can't teach another at this age, but there are others that you can be able to help. We also facilitate staff for training programs, both locally and externally. You quoted about the CPST. We also have an equivalent where you brought from Bureau for Parliamentary Studies and Training, New Delhi, India. Then we also have some training program at the House of Commons for both our reporters and editors to help staff build capacity and also help them, as my colleague has spoken, we have the house style. My presentation has borrowed heavily from our house styles at the National Parliament, House Assembly of Bermuda, Commonwealth Association, Canada, Australian, and also I have borrowed heavily from one of, it's called Reinhard Trendy. He wrote a thesis on Hansard translation, problems and issues in the translation and editing of overall reports of parliamentary proceedings. This is a South African scholar. You look at page 126 to 144, if you're talking about editing processes. And what my friend Kumbatha was talking about, look at that. I have asked that that document be shared. And there was another one that I shared. What? It mirrored on what the Hansard did for the House of Commons was telling us the other day. So you look at those two documents, they will help you. So among the other initiatives, apart from training of staff, we have also attached staff. We have staff attached to the Pan-African Parliament. We also have staff at the IARA. It helps them to benchmark and build capacity. And also we encourage staff to develop their abilities of language through self-sponsorship that the Parliament is not able to finance you, and encourage them that they can improve by enrolling in various institutions. In terms of feedback, we hold, like now we'll talk from the Senate, a directory meeting after every 2 weeks to take stock of what transpired in the last 2 weeks. In the process, we look at the issues that came up to help us prepare a report, which I said must be accurate, readable, and it must make sense. That's why there cannot be a word for word.
Director, Mr. Oduori, time.
So the last reference material is a book by S.P. May's Parliamentary Practice. It is also available. I am sure my friends have procured this on soft copy at around 4,000, Mr. Katuta. It is good that every assembly has that copy. It is the Bible of parliamentary practice. I will not talk more because of time, only that we reflect whether we as Parliament are protecting and promoting and protecting the diversity of language of our people, among others. So I have shared my document with the Secretariat. They will be able to share with you, and I will be available to respond to any interactions, any clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. The remaining two panelists, kindly stick to 3 minutes time.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Hangali, a Hansard reporter from the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank the National Assembly of Kenya, the Senate, the 47 county assemblies, and in a very special way, the Hansard Association of Kenya Leadership for inviting us to this wonderful conference. And we feel honored to be part of this amazing conference to share our insights, specifically with the basic reference from the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. Also, let me take this opportunity to convey our heartfelt greetings from the Speaker of the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania, the Clerk of the National Assembly, and also the Director of Hansard Unit from Tanzania. Coming back to the debate, the topic of language use in the Parliament is one of the most important topics, especially in the Hansard conferences, because one of the things that we are dealing with as Hansard is language. So from the experience I have from the Parliament of Tanzania is that the stories of the language use is not quite different from the stories that you have here in Kenya, because in Tanzania we have almost 125 tribes. So you can imagine having that kind of diverse accents, both articulated or all articulated in the Parliament. So we suffer from, as Hansard editors, reporters, and all that, we experience the problem of accents, and that is due to the influence of the first languages that most of the MPs have. But the issue of vocabulary is also evident in our Parliament. And let me start with the issue of accent. The way parliamentarians or members of Parliament speaks in the Parliament, they carry great features from their first languages or from their mother tongue. So you may find that the way they pronounce some other words is not actually the same with the way or the proper way that word should be pronounced. For example, let me take an example from people from Lake Zone. There you talk of Kuria. I'm also told that we have Kuria in Kenya. So they have this problem of using the sound L or L and R interchangeably. So you may find in the place where he or she is supposed to use maybe the sound L, you may find that he or she may use R. So for example, someone might say, ninataka kula, but you can imagine in that case, he or she might say, ninataka kura. So, and that is spoken clearly and you can hear it clearly and properly. So you can imagine dealing with that case because, for example, you can write as the way that person has said that ninataka kura, but also that may bring some kind of contradictions because the word kura has got also a clear meaning in Swahili. So kura means a vote. So it brings us to such kind of controversies and whatever. But the other thing is also vocabulary because the problem of accent and pronunciation also affects vocabularies. But the other thing that affects the vocabulary, especially in Swahili language, is the issue of dialects. As we all know that Swahili is one of the fully fledged languages which is spoken now in East and Central Africa, has got a lot of dialects. So you might find that one vocabulary means has got a certain meaning in dialect A, but also the same vocabulary has got the other meaning in the other vocabulary. But the same vocabulary is a standard word which is used or accepted in Swahili language. So, for example, the word tembo. We all know that tembo in English means an elephant. But when you encounter the Swahili speakers along the coast and even from Zanzibar, and I'm also sure that that will be the same from Mombasa, as one of the coast regions that speak Swahili, has got also another meaning. In a standard Swahili word, the word tembo means elephant, but when you go there in the coast region and even in the islands, the word tembo has got also another meaning. So it brings us to such kind of contradictions. So as Hansard reporters, those are the kind of challenges that we are usually exposed to in our daily activities. So I would like to share one of the things that we use to tackle those kind of problems. One thing is that the National Assembly Standing Orders has given us some kind of assistance because even in the Parliament of Tanzania, the MPs or the members of parliaments are also part and parcel of the editing process. According to Order 169, Sub-Order 2, the members of parliaments who have made the contributions in a certain day, okay, thank you, have they are supposed or they have the responsibility of making sure that they get their copy of transcription immediately after finishing the session, and then do some minor editings, whether basing on the names of places and even some mispronounced words, and return them to the Hansard director within 24 hours after taking that paper or that contribution of his or hers. So that is one of the things that helps us a lot in trying to tackle that kind of problem, because we face a lot of challenges, especially with the issues of accents, pronunciations, and vocabulary. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hansard absorption, okay.
And we want to deviate slightly from the key ideas of communication, but it's not the one that we use. The company that is making that is easy to so we could attract others to use that and really supposed to use. I think that English is very important. The differences where English really becomes very expensive. Sometimes they use multiple people. Sometimes it is multiple. And we are not issues as our story of the community. Deciding whether to be transferred or to be different now. I have always taken the great decision to be the now. Because I think the young person we have the time of very specific supposed to be. I don't know like the belief that this is that I am right, or I could go by what a very few of the key members of the
And I'm going to share my experience working in Ghana. Having worked there now for 90 years. Now, all of you know that Ghana runs under the Islamic community. It's a dedicated arm of the community. And it's still down by the community that is nourishing the Islamic community. So when you look at the Quran and the about it seems that the official language of the community is only English. Of course, it is something that of the human of the community. Now, you know very well that in the we have how many practices? Or Kenya, Uganda, DRC, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and the Republic of Ghana. Now, how do you make something of the money? Now, whatever they ask, but they have not spoken. In fact, they are taking the notice from July, but not from So, how do you enter those countries? I want to speak about the language. This is what I want to learn and we have to show you how to speak at all. We have members from here who are not coming from the company, members are saying because they speak at all, because they are not able to communicate English. So, as a reporter, as a minister, we are in one area, it is quite complicated. Because some of them, there is a lot of translation, from French to English. And making a decision is something that we want to be professional, come out with the same thing in the level of trying to communicate. But at the same time, you have a job here to come up with your needs that can be different and that can be one of the group and then we don't know our hands as well as this is something that has to be assessed all over. So now when we are in the city where a member will come and say, first one of them wants to do a whole shut up for a hand that comes to this location that and I want to go to more activity. And I was so some people believe that I told them no, so I had a translation and what we wanted to do. So she said, no, what she means is that you take a law from people. So you are abusing, but you is the one that you someone different. So if you take the meaning of English, when you say you are abusing, you think you are thinking of abusing. But she's not meaning that. What she means is that why have you, why not, why is it how you're going to work with people, something like that. So it's not so complex. But you know what I found one thing in my community? I think she was trying to, that's what asking for something that she was trying to explain to them, that is an aspect of it. But for them, instead of telling them, because she was also using the one, she was also able to tell them, then I stop them, everyone to the right, foolish, stop being foolish. Innocent is not knowing that they are foolish now, they send a job for the easy to be asking, the easy to be asking, Jesus is not, so they can't know what happens with them. So we then when they do have the current one, so the not and now we want to go to talk about the variety because it's very much how because you know very well and you doesn't know what we're doing. So we really now kind of get that the way we apply the variety before we thank God and we pray the community is trying to come out with new ways of God. The community is trying to acquire the education machine, the things the people will do the fast so that it becomes easier for us. And also so that our members are able to because I think right now we just have to apply the people and some of them want to think how to coach people. So it's quite complex and so it's very beneficial. There's nothing much you can do, but I believe it's actually a friend with one of the longest programs and we for our members to go to do. That is what the best everything I watch and yes, thank you very much.
And it has a lot of people now make solutions because matter of language is very complex. Matter of language is very complex, and we need to work on our definition, especially if we are speaking the activity that they are doing, or we set a little bit so that we can compare the pressure of the new work and the market now. It is true, end of the day, we need to have completely over the problem. But what are we doing? Pressure of the work that are doing. And in the event that we go in, in the event that we go in, we will nothing is money. But this is really I understand also that profession in investment there are many they are going to be the I don't know for what you are because I remember the share that they are so one of made people and made people beginning about so my opinion is that this has to come now cannot conclusion because the pressure that is there so the understood some of the cities transit to the planetary standard in line with what our community and but currently I have this position in the the only people body in the government of the nation body and we are in sooner rather than later we will get up the and in terms of the Kita baada ya kuongeza kwamba revolution katika kupatikana Mungu sasa ndio masai ndio
Thank you, Madam Session Chair. Please allow me to react to the issues that have been raised because I think after this, may not have that forum. First, on hack registration, we have to look at the program. There is an adoption of hack documents tomorrow. The President will react to that. There is the status of the registration. Secondly, on the issue of an issue that has been raised, maybe a motion or a communication in Kiswahili. Let me borrow Senator 001, Senator Faki from Mombasa. Yes, that is statement, kauli in Kiswahili. We will give it a title in Kiswahili. When the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, the current president, came to address Parliament, akisema wale wanapata mimba ama wana cross over. You remember we covered that Kiswahili? So we do it, we leave it a Kiswahili title. Somebody asked some. In terms of, I'm concerned about my friend Arau. We have had a problem with Migori, to be precise, where Deputy Speaker wants to be referred, addressed as Mr. Speaker in the documents. He has not decided to go for election of the Speaker. Then, if they are using mother tongue, and the article I quoted, Article 7 of the Constitution, Article 120, Senate Standing Orders number, I think 92, National Assembly 77, we three languages. Remember my presentation, I said there is a need to rethink on the issue of the local languages, because there is inability on the part of MCS to contribute positively to debates on matters on the floor. So as it is now, you are taking a very dangerous route. He said leaving it out. How do you leave out a contribution by a member? I would have expected the speaker, he said the speaker is also involved in this issue, to rule that member out of order, and if it is necessary for one paragraph, to the member himself to translate. If you do your own translation, please mark my words, and the professor will tell you, you run into problems. We are two opposing parties. We will dispute your version of the translation. Ask us at the Senate, the CEO in Beaches will tell you we have a problem for the governor and the other team to agree on the version of the translation. You are not mandated to translate. That's the business of the member under the speaker. But what is happening there is dangerous. We are told even by the clerk the other day, by the time we come for impeachment motion at the Senate, we will have a problem with you. Do we believe what the translation you are telling us? So please don't translate. If it is the member constitution between English and Swahili, some few words we italicize. To be on the same side, we are not politicians. I say we are conveyor belt. Don't be caught in the mix. And the politicians can be so brutal. They will go with you, just like a bulldozer. So please. Okay, I was reacting to some issues. The last one. The issue of this parliamentary lingo. I started with an Ubogemo during Wamaro Kichana. Language is dynamic. Leo msamiati mpya unaibuka. After some time, the dice another one comes up. So, Asura, is it the English version we take or the Kiswahili version? Finally, we need to be alive to the fact that this is for convenience for the politicians, those Pangwingwi, Asura, and the rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Friends, I would like you to write this acronym for me. ASK. 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 And I'd like to use an analogy that all of us should be familiar with. When you are in the field looking for a girl to date, or for that matter, a man, you will go for one, in most cases, who is irresistible. Rarely do you end up with someone who is, in your view, a non-starter. You will have a line of them if you're lucky, and you will go for the irresistible one. I am asking of Hansard professionals to give an irresistible ask to our institutions. Ask, A, the skill. Have the skill that is irresistible. Make sure that you are so skilled in your trade and you have added other skills attached to editing, writing, public speaking, research, report writing, rapporteuring, so that when they are looking for that one officer who will do all this, who has the skill, it shall be you. Be irresistibly A. A is for the attitude. Have a teachable attitude. Be hungry for knowledge. Don't let us not be the ones who come last. Let's go ahead of the pack. Probably we will meet some challenges, but that will only mean that we are progressing. Let's have an attitude to be hungry for knowledge and to be teachable, rather than resisting whatever may be coming our way, which could actually propel us further. And finally, be knowledgeable. Know the law, know the processes, know the procedures, know the trend, know what is going on. So my challenge to us as the Hansard professionals to grow our trade is that let us give them an irresistible ask. That they have no choice, but they will fall in love with the Hansard. Thank you.
Haiwezekani kuongeza chochote baada ya dada kutiririka namna hiyo, lakini alichosema Nyasani ni cha tija, ni cha faida, chafaa kufikiriwa kwa makini zaidi. Nimetoka kwa anga hizi za lugha sasa. Tuchukue nafasi yetu. Ni zama za mapinduzi, rasilimali zimekuwa finyu, na ukiangalia hata idadi yetu twafaa kuwa wimbi bungeni, iwe ni katika gatuzi au ni ngazi ya kitaifa. Tunafaa kuwa wimbi, anavyosema irresistible. Sasa sijui ni mbinu gani tutatumia, lakini amependekeza profesa kuwa kwanza tujirasimishe, tujiandikishe. Hilo jambo lafaa kufikiriwa sana, na kuwe na mbinu mwafaka za kuhakikisha kwamba HAK ni chama rasmi kinachotambulika na ni fursa, alivyosema dada, kuwa impact attracts resources. Na tunajua dunia inavyoelekea sasa, ushuru kila mahali na kadhalika, resources zimekuwa finyu. Sasa ni sisi to create impact. Lazima tuchukue, yani hilo ni muhimu zaidi. Mimi nadhani hilo ndio muhimu zaidi. HAK iwe rasmi, iandikishwe, na ikiwezekana kuwe hata na sheria inayohusu HAK. Ni kwa manufaa yetu tu. Shukran.
Okay, thank you. I believe it has been an insightful session. And learning is a continuous process. We know counties are here now, 11th year. And whatever we keep doing, we consult our big brothers at the National and the Senate. So I believe once our association is registered, I believe we can even have our own standard, how we define Hansard. So I believe we shall have the correct guideline. And I believe these challenges will continue each time they come. Some evolve, some are able to tackle them. But I believe as the Hansard fraternity, we are the first and the last line with the Hansard report. So we should always endeavor to do what is right as per our standing order, what the Constitution says and what our mandate says, so that, because we know these are documents that will be referred years to come, even when we have left these offices. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I hope it has also been a very good and amazing discussion based on the language use. But in my opinion, I think the reason that we have all these kind of discussions raising all sorts of contradictions and problems that we encounter when producing Hansards is because of the sensitivity of the Hansard itself. You know, Hansard is a very important thing, especially because it informs the public about the parliamentary proceedings, but in other way around, it can have some power even to be used as an evidence in the court of justice. So, basing on that sensitivity, I think there is a need to have a legal tooth protecting all the entire process of producing Hansard. We need to have that power, because the reason that we have this kind of discussion is that the existing legal tools that we have to protect the production of Hansard are not even maybe properly working or properly functioning, because, for instance, we say that we have the National Assembly standing orders, and they state clearly that the language which should be used in the parliament should be Swahili, English, or sign language. But sometimes you find that the members of parliament can even use the language they wish to use. So I think there is a loophole that they are using to trespass that kind of issue. So I think there is a need to have more power, and more especially the legal tools that will protect the entire process of producing Hansard. Thank you.
Thank you. Allow me to be on my feet and allow me to evoke my other language that I can speak at this juncture. Probably a response to my brother Allow in relation to vernacular. Kindly desist from deleting a member's contribution. What you do is you are better off putting it in italics, but completely deleting it is very unprofessional, because you'll be creating your own Hansard. However, consider training your speaker and the speakers panel in terms of how they should let debates move, because you can't allow a member to keep on speaking in their vernacular and it becomes like it's a culture in your assembly, and you are very comfortable with that, and the speaker and the members of the speakers panel are equally at ease with it. They need probably to be guided by the clerks at the table so that the right thing is done. My brother Mutai, allow me to say that my presentation was on language use and not language to be used. Language to be used means I was proposing on the language that is supposed to be used in parliament. No, we were simply looking at aspects of language as they emerge as used in our parliament. But I appreciate the fact that that needs to be looked at. I think Senior Ndigi addressed the issue of legalese, the use of legal language in debates. I think that's fine, good enough. My own comments will be a challenge. If you looked at my conclusion, I am really looking forward to the day when hack will take us to the next level. Basically, as Hansard editors, I think we have not known how to be proud of who we are. Hatujajua kupiga kifua, tunajikondesha sana, yaani tunaonekana kama ni watu wa kushika vidude, kuviweka pale, kuondoka. Hatujajua umuhimu wa hii kazi yetu, na ndio sababu utapata katika mabunge mengine ya ugatuzi ni kwamba maafisa wa kitengo hiki wanachukuliwa kama wapita njia tu. Nafikiria tunahitaji mapinduzi. I will echo the words of my brother Mwambeo. We need a complete revolution.
Revolution not in a way that will be disrespectful to authority and administration, but in stamping our authority, because it is clear that Hansard ndio msema kweli. I don't know whether you have ever sat down to imagine of how important you are at that county assembly. Sisi ndio chumvi ya mabunge bwana. Lakini kila tukitembea katika mabunge yetu ni kama kwamba sisi ndio sukari ni afadhali. Hii niseme Royco Cube. Royco Cube ina chumvi. And my prayer is that HAC begins to lead us in that direction. I'm happy that we seem to have woken up to that revolutionary aspect. But my prayer is that HAC begins to form a committee to probably, for once, have a standard operating procedure for all Hansard officers. So that we don't begin to say, Trans-Nzoia have their own guide, Kilifi have their own guide. That's not how lawyers operate. That's not how LSK operates. That's not how accountants operate. Accountants have a way of presenting their financial statements. It is standard because they are a professional body. Hansard needs to go that direction. And I will wish that our big brothers, the National Assembly and the Senate, takes us that direction. Form a committee with all the editors in all the county assemblies, invite IALA, invite Parliament of Uganda. Let's have a sitting and say, now we want to formulate a proper Hansard guide that will be in English and translated in Kiswahili. I will tell you thereafter we will be respected. In terms of translation of the standing orders, I will challenge the county assemblies. Please put it in your budget, translate your standing orders into Kiswahili. It will ease your reporting. Without that, then you'll have the complex issues that we have as Kilifi, where members begins their debate in Kiswahili, but they have to quote in English, and Kigiriama, then you have a problem. But then we need to begin to make this other consideration. That is my other challenge. What is the place of the vernacular languages at the regional parliaments? Asante. What is the place of Kigiriama at the County Assembly of Kilifi? Can we allow a member? The same way we say, I think the people in the northeastern region will agree with me that they change their standing orders because it is too hot. They are allowed to walk in casually into their assembly. If we can change the standing orders in terms of dressing, why can't we say you can debate in your vernacular? Because after all, you want to communicate to the locals. Then we can leave Kiswahili and English and sign language at the national level, because that is at the national level. That will be my other challenge. If we begin to think along that direction, I don't know whether if we go that direction, then we will look too local. Lastly, it is important that we begin to give Kiswahili its place in assembly and parliamentary debates. Mimi ni mkereketwa mkubwa sana wa lugha ya Kiswahili. Nikisikia kwamba Migori hakuna hata mheshimiwa mmoja ambaye anazungumza Kiswahili, na natatizika kidogo. And that becomes my challenge to our brothers and sisters in Uganda, because the East African Corporation advocates that Kiswahili is the lingua franca. And that's why I used Kiswahili with no apologies. because apparently they have a role to make sure. And when we begin to sing the East African Community Anthem, in what language is it? So do they sing it? I guess they do. I know it will be a mountain for them to climb, but let's realize that there's another revolution, and this revolution is Kiswahili is taking its place in this country. So if you have a problem with Kiswahili as a language, because that you will be able to communicate. Let me thank you for listening to me. Let me thank you for giving me the honorable honor, the honorable opportunity to make a presentation during this conference. Thank you and be blessed.
Sitachukua muda mrefu, pengine dakika 2-3 tu zitatosha. Langu ni kusherehekea tu yale ambayo yameelezwa na kuhimiza na kuhimiza tu baadhi ya masuala ambayo yamejitokeza. Nataka kuchukulia pale ambapo ndugu Kumbatha amemalizia kwamba ni lazima tujitambue na tuweke misingi yetu ya utambulisho, na msingi mmoja ni lugha. Na ndiposa niliposema kwamba tukijifunga katika Kiingereza kuna mambo mengi ambayo hatuwezi kuyatumia, hayana faida kwetu. For example, let's take it Hansard itself. We have never thought about it because you see we shall remain using the Hansard society because we cannot change it. It's actually somebody's name. Are you seeing? But can we think outside that box? I was trying to research and find out China, wanatumia, how do they preserve their records? And I was trying to find out, do they use Hansard? I could not trace anything like that. Okay? Because they have identified themselves as a certain form of governance. And so they need, but they preserve the same. Ndugu Ondigi kwa heshima zote alimaliza kwa kusema the Hansard is at the convenience of the politician. Then I find a contradiction, because if it's the convenience of the politician will exit. But we are saying this document has life to live. Beyond that politician, this document is a legal document. I want to believe so, because then it can be used anywhere else. We can make reference. So if it's at the convenience of the politician, then it should exit with that politician, because his term is gone. So we accept that it has life beyond the politician. I pick up from the echo sentiment made. As editors, then we need to redefine ourselves. We need to define who the Hansard editor is, beyond the normal, the theoretical, the one we learn in class and everything as an editor. Because what you are doing is outside, it's more sensitive than any other editor somewhere. Okay? And so once we redefine that, na ndio maana tunahitaji tujipe uwezo. Kimsingi ni kwamba nafasi yetu ni kubwa zaidi. Na ndiposa nikasema iwapo tunataka kuendeleza, ni lazima tujitambulishe vizuri, wajue kwamba nafasi yetu ni hii na kazi tunayofanya ni hii. Sasa inarudi katika swala la kuwepo na kamati katika bunge ambayo itashughulika na masuala ya lugha. That's why I was using the Indian parliament, the commission and a committee parliament
on language, ili tuweke misingi yetu ya namna ile lugha tutakavyoitumia itachukua misingi gani. Kwa mfano, wakati mwingine nasikia Kiswahili tunatumia Kiswahili cha Tanzania kitakuwa ni cha Tanzania tu, sisi tuna chetu cha Kenya. So we must get a basis for how we want to capture this language. Kiingereza chetu kitakuwa ni cha Kenya, cha kwingine kitakuwa ni kile kile. Hayo mengine tutakutana pale kwa East African Parliament, then tutasawazisha, kwa sababu utakuta kutoka DRC anasema ninaomba muikale, okay, Kiswahili chao. How do we standardize that? So we must accept that there will be differences, and so the standard will depend on what standard we set for our own levels. Committee on Sports and Culture. I find that very, very wide. You know, it's very confusing. I'm talking of language is very sensitive in all this business, and it must need a committee that deals with the language and issues, standardization, that is communication. Then we shall get a basis in which we shall also guide the legislators, because they are free, they use language because they are rules, but they don't observe. But if they understand that the editors are coming from this particular point, then you have a strong case to fight and guide the legislators on the language use. And then we shall also, by extension, be able to guide the speaker, because there are points where we say, okay, retract that sentence, okay? And then you are saying, that is when we say now, we are recording this at the convenience of the Member of Parliament. It is not a convenience of the Member of Parliament, it's at the convenience of the Kenyan, because he's representing people. Then we shall have we can now be able to guide the chair at the other side and tell them there must be rules observed on how we are going to use language. So that if we want clarity, then we are saying the speaker can direct for that particular person, the MP or whatever, the senator, to contextualize, so that as an editor, we are able to capture. When we are doing the editorial work, we don't miss out. If we shall have footnotes on a few other areas, we shall have them, but we can capture because we have contextualized, guided by the speaker. Can you please contextualize what you have said? That is the only time then we can be known and our role will be able to be appreciated. I've said then, having said that, then we need to domesticate the language and everything else, you know, to fit our own communicative needs. So many other factors will come into when we're talking about domestication. And so I still come back to that Committee on Sports and Culture. Those are the things. Let's talk about Committee on Language use and communication, so that it is specific. We can fall back to it. Yeah. Thank you. And lastly, I want to say, baadhi ya mambo mengine ni masuala tu ya hisia, mitazamo, attitudes. Okay? We want to imagine that we speak good English, but we don't even master it. We really don't have to in it. We want to imagine we speak good Kiswahili. We have very little knowledge of it, even our own mother tongue. So we just have to change our mindset and believe in ourselves kwamba tutazungumza kwa Kiswahili, tutaendesha katika county, tutaendesha shughuli zetu katika lugha ya kwanza au lugha ya mama, au know the complexity kwamba, for example, my county, Busia, we have 4 or 5 languages or dialects of Luya. Okay? So which one is dominant? But we can accept that all can be used. However, dakika tatu hata ni nyingi zaidi. Asante sana. We can agree that of all these languages, we have a specific dialect that we are going to use, but we can as well use all of them. Only that we need somebody who will understand. If it means to transcribe, he'll do the right one. Or if it means translate, then he'll get the right translation for the same. But then if we are translating, into which language? Again, we come back to the common language that brings us all together, is Kiswahili. Kwa sababu haya tunayozungumzia yanatumika na wananchi. We need to use this to communicate. And that's why I had somebody say, sometimes a member of parliament has presented an issue, quickly goes to the video, the audio recording, and shares with the constituents. Okay? Because he wants to communicate, this is what I said. And that is the essence of it. Kwa hivyo, nafasi ya Kiswahili ni kubwa. Na tupigie debe. Lakini zaidi kama wahariri tujipe nafasi. Na wakubwa wetu wako hapa. I mean, let us get this legislated. It will be easier for you as editors to have a say and to direct the course of discourse in terms of language use in parliament. You are the experts. The parliamentarians are a jack of all trades. Okay? So we need to bring them to our standard, not us going to their standard. Nafikiri baada ya kusema hayo, ninaomba nikamilishe kwa kushukuru nyote na kwa kushukuru kamati andalizi na wahusika wote kwa kunipa fursa hii kujumuika nanyi. Ilikuwa ni kikao changu vile vile cha kujifunza na kufunzana. Nawashukuru sana, wakati wote tupo kwa kuchangia na kuendeleza nchi yetu. Nikiwa hapa, I also remember my students back home. We have students who want to go for attachment and all that. And if you get a student from Kiswahili department, Moi University, don't even ask twice, just pick. We have a few who need some placement in counties. I think we need one in Nairobi. There are 3 who are still missing places. So if you have, and I think one in Western or something like that. So, okay. Asante sana. So if there are chances, please you can take 1 or 2 of the 3 who are remaining. It's not a big class, but some have gotten places to do their attachment. We bring you good products. Those who have been in Swahili department will tell you it's a good product. Mwambeo, am I speaking for everybody else? Yeah. So you have no doubt about whether it's in translation services, whether it's transcribing and all that, they are very fine. So wakija, tafadhali ni watoto wetu na ndugu zetu. Tukiwafungia je wataenda wapi? Kwa hivyo tuwape nafasi ili nao waweze kujifunza na waje wachukue nafasi zetu sisi tunapoondoka. So I think I have like one in Nairobi, another one in Western, and I was trying to look for one more. If we could get one in Western and 2 in any section, Hansard section or one of the sections, they are comfortable and they're very disciplined. Yeah, that's a plus. They're very disciplined. They work with good standards. Idara ya Kiswahili chuo kikuu cha Moi itakuwa inaandaa kongamano language, actually Kiswahili, translation and Africa's Renaissance, 5th to 7th July 2024. 7th July ni siku ya Kiswahili. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa tunasherehekea vile vile siku ya Kiswahili. Kwa hivyo pengine kwenye wall mkiniruhusu ya Hansard, ninaweza kutuma hiyo call ya conference, na wale watakaotaka maelezo zaidi we can still share. But I'll put it on the Hansard wall if you allow me for the time I'm there. And then I think we'll get 1 or 2 of a few friends who can also continue reminding us. You can send in abstract, you can present a paper, you can just come to participate, to listen, and to be part of it. Thank you very much. God bless all of us.
Do I need it? Okay. Colleagues, let us give a round of applause to appreciate Professor and our panelists. Also clap for yourself for listening and participating. We shall now break for lunch. Oh, sorry. We shall now break for lunch for 1 hour. So it's now around 1:40. We shall come back after an hour. Enjoy your lunch.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings to the end the morning session of the 4th day of the 6th Annual Hansard Association of Kenya Conference. We have had exciting presentations and discussions revolving around the language mechanics in the production of Hansard. We had a very beautiful presentation, well eloquently presented by the Director of Hansard, Kilifi County Assembly, Mr. Kumbatha, which was reinforced by the presentation made by Professor Robert Oduori, mhadhiri mtafsiri chuo kikuu cha Moi. Na baada ya hapo pia tumekuwa na maelezo na majibizano baina ya wale wahusika na maswali yakaibuka mengi ambayo pia yameweza kujibiwa. Kwa hivyo kwa sasa ni alamsiki, watu tunakwenda kupata chakula cha mchana na tutarudi hapo saa 8:40 ambapo tutakuwa na session 2 ambayo itahusika na mada ya uchapishaji wa Hansard, yani publishing in the Hansard, na hii ambayo itakuwa inaongozwa na ndugu zetu kutoka nchi jirani ya Uganda, na wataweza kutuelezea na kushare experiences zao kuhusu jinsi gani wanafanya kazi yao huko Uganda. Pia tutakuwa na mhadhiri wa kutoka chuo kikuu cha Nairobi, Dr. James Oranga, ambaye anatoka katika School of Journalism, ambaye atatuelezea na kutusaidia katika mahojiano na majibizano yatakayoendelea hapo baadaye. Na session ya 3 na ya mwisho itakuwa kubadilishana mawazo baina ya bunge tofauti za nchini katika county na pia national parliament, vile vile bunge ambazo zinatoka nchi jirani kama vile East African Legislative Assembly pamoja na bunge la Jamhuri ya Tanzania na bunge la Uganda. Kwa hivyo kwa haya machache, asanteni kwa kuangalia na kuhudhuria hata kama mko mbali, na tukutane hapo saa 8. Asanteni.
How is it going? How is that follow?